Hello everyone, I am Blank, no name, and welcome to another video. Today I am doing what if Mikoto adopted Naruto instead of him being left alone. I hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This will basically just be Mikoto and her family adopting Naruto during the first part of Naruto, for this part at least. And yeah, let's get into it. Minato and Kusina have just died, and the third Hokage has just became the Hokage once again, as the fourth Hokage is dead. Naruto is up for adoption, and the third Hokage has not decided to just raise him, quote unquote, by himself. Mikoto and her family step up to say that they want to raise Naruto. Danzo would of course not want the Uchihas to raise the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. But in this scenario, let's say the third Hokage is okay with it, and let's say the third Hokage decides to overrule Danzo here, and that the rest of the council says that it's fine, and so Danzo can't really do anything here. And so here, the Mikoto's family adopts Naruto, as we know in the original that Mikoto and Kusina were friends, and that Mikoto probably wanted to adopt Naruto, but did not get the chance to, as Danzo did not want Naruto to be in the hands of the Uchiha clan. Fugaku would have agreed to adopt Naruto because it was his wife's friend's kid, and in this situation Fugaku would have liked to adopt Naruto, but not only because of that, but also because he is the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox, and because Naruto wields the Nine-Tailed Fox, that would be very useful for Fugaku and the Uchiha clan, and as well of the fact that he is the son of Minato, who was a great shinobi and had great chakra. So Naruto must have some bit of what Minato had, and with that, Naruto would probably become a really good shinobi and asset to the Uchiha clan, making him really useful and making Fugaku want him even more. And so when his wife suggested this, Fugaku was probably head over heels to hear this and really wanted him. With Naruto being adopted by Mikoto and Fugaku, he would have been trained by Fugaku, and with him being trained by Fugaku, he would have learned more about how to be a ninja, and he would have learned more about his chakra control, and he would have learned more about how to use his chakra and some of the Nine Tails chakra. With him learning more about this, that would make him more of a ninja and more not like it would make him less of it wouldn't okay he wouldn't be as bad as a ninja as he was in canon, with him barely being able to summon a cyclone. While the Ninetales does hinder his chakra here, he would have gotten a way to bypass that and summon saddle clones. So with him being able to do that, Naruto and Fugaku would have trained together, and with Naruto training with Fugaku, Sasuke would have trained with Fugaku a bit more as well, as Fugaku thought, why not just train them both at the same time? Because since they were both already training, it was just easier to have Sasuke train with them as well. And so Sasuke learned a bit more with Naruto training, and with Fugaku training Naruto to just be really strong so that he could
one day, so he could one day become strong enough to help the Uchiha clan. Naruto and Sasuke would have trained together a lot more, and with them training together a lot more, they had really good teamwork. They developed this really good teamwork pretty early together, as Fugaku would have had Naruto and Sasuke training together from basically as young as you could be to train, which was probably like toddlerhood. So, Naruto and Sasuke trained together, they learned each other's moves, and they basically knew everything about each other. I mean, they were adopted brothers, and they basically knew each other as that. Naruto would have learned how to Naruto would have learned how to use his nature transformation, which was wind. Naruto sadly did not have fire, which would have made him have really good fire, but he had learned a bit about fire, but he still had wind as his main one. With Naruto having learned a little bit about fire and learned wind because that is his nature transformation, Naruto would have learned to use them with Sasuke. The other members of the Uchiha clan grew to like Naruto. His personality and the way that he was kind of set in from the rest of the village, like the Uchiha clan kind of is, made the Uchiha clan really like Naruto and really think that they could help him in a lot of ways. Itachi, Shisui, and other Uchihas really liked Naruto and would train with him a lot, making Naruto grow a lot as a ninja and building these relationships up with Naruto for later on in the series. Naruto would have enjoyed spending time with these other members of the Uchiha clan, like his family. While the members of the Uchiha clan looked at Naruto like family and him to them just the same, the village looked at Naruto relatively the same as they did in canon, but a little bit different because Naruto was a member of the Uchiha clan, or I guess an adopted member of the Uchiha clan. He had a home and he had a family. And so people were more inclined to train with him or more inclined to play with him. And he had a bit more friends, but even with that, they still did not really play with him too much because their parents told him not to. But people like Shikamaru and Choji and maybe Kiba probably would have played with him because they seemed to have more lenient parents who wanted to play with Naruto, or I guess more lenient parents who said that they could play with Naruto if they wanted to. And so with this, Naruto, Sasuke, and Kiba, Shikamaru, and Choji probably would have become friends in this timeline. Naruto and Sasuke would have been walking home together. Naruto would have said, "Oh, I bet I could get home before you do. I'll reach you there." As Naruto would dash off to try and get home before Sasuke. When Naruto would get to the clan, would have gotten to the clan base, he would see a bunch of dead bodies. These dead bodies were of the Uchiha clan. Naruto would have walked around the Uchiha compound just seeing a bunch of dead bodies, and he would have seen people being killed left and right. As then, he would see Itachi. He would have seen Itachi kill an Uchiha. Itachi, somebody he saw as a brother, somebody who basically was his brother, killing the Uchiha clan, his family. Naruto was astounded to see this. He was crying. He didn't know what to say. Why, Itachi? Why would you do this to our entire clan? They're like our family. You're like my brother. You shouldn't be doing this. What's making you do this, Itachi? Please stop. I don't understand. Why would you ever do this to our family? Itachi, why? Naruto would say, as he would cry, and he would look at Itachi, as Itachi would be murdering the clan. Naruto would be crying, not understanding why Itachi was doing this, as Itachi would look down at Naruto and say, "You were never a part of this family. You were just an adopted child that our parents, no, my parents, decided to bring in. You will never be a part of the Uchiha clan. How dare you even say our family like you are part of it?" Itachi would say, as he would look down at Naruto. Naruto would continue to cry as he would become angered by this. He did not understand why Itachi was doing this. Itachi! No! Stop it! Don't say those things. What are you doing? You're killing the clan. Don't. Why would you say those things to me, Itachi? No. Stop it. Naruto would say. He was crying. He didn't really know what to even say in the situation. Naruto would transform partially into his QB state. Naruto was stronger here because Fugaku had taught him more about how to control the nine-tailed fox. Naruto would have red eyes, tears coming down from them as he looked at Itachi. Itachi did not want to kill Naruto here. He knew how useful the nine-tailed fox was to the village. He also loved Naruto like a brother, and he thought that he did not have to kill Naruto because he wasn't a true member of the Uchiha clan. He was an adopted member and did not possess the Sharingan or anything like that. And he thought that he could spare Naruto like he did Sasuke, as Itachi would look at Naruto with a smirk. Itachi would look at Naruto as Naruto would go into a blind rage. He was stronger than he would probably be at the age of 6 in his QB state. As Naruto would rage at Itachi, Itachi would fight Naruto for a little bit until he would then use Tsukuyomi on him, or a Genjutsu. Using Tsukuyomi on Naruto would cause Naruto to not be able to fight Itachi, and with that, Naruto would have fallen to the ground and would have been knocked out here. Sasuke would be running home, as he usually let Naruto get home before him, and then waited a little bit before he would come home. This happened basically every day, because Naruto always wanted to get home before him, as he wanted to win. So Sasuke would get home just to see the entire clan be killed by Itachi. Or I guess the entire clan had been killed by Itachi. As then he would see Naruto's supposedly dead body, although Naruto was not actually dead, he was just knocked out and put in a way that made it look like he was dead. As then, basically, everything would go the same, besides the fact that Naruto was there. And yeah, so everything basically went the same here, and Sasuke unlocked his Sharingan like he did in canon. And then he would have been knocked out by Itachi. To Sasuke's enjoyment, Naruto was not actually dead. Naruto was actually alive and was just knocked out. And when the police came, or Jonin, or whatever came, they would see that the Uchiha clan was wiped out by Itachi, or whatever actually happened in canon. And so then, Naruto and Sasuke would go about their lives, and while they were sad, they would both have the goal to one day kill Itachi, while Naruto also had the goal to become Hokage and prove the village wrong about him being, I guess, worthless or whatever. So, Naruto and Sasuke would both have similar goals, and they would try to complete them. When we get to the beginning of the series, it goes a bit differently, but not enough to mention. Naruto would still Naruto would still do really badly, as he still has really bad chakra control because of Kurama. Although his chakra control is good enough to not fail the test, in this timeline, he just barely passes, and he passes this test. He does well enough to pass, although he gets the lowest score of the entire class. Naruto is just happy to pass though, and of course, Sasuke gets the highest score in the entire class. But obviously, Naruto is actually really strong, and the class knows this, but it's fine though. Because Naruto would have passed the exams, Mizuki would not have been able to get him to steal the scroll of ceilings for him, making Mizuki have to get another worthless ninja to steal it instead. Because of this, the worthless ninja would not have been skilled enough to steal the scroll of ceilings well enough to not get caught. And since they got caught, Mizuki would have gotten caught instead, and then Mizuki likely would have just been taken to jail like in canon. With Naruto still getting the lowest score out of everyone in the academy, he would still be put on a team with Sasuke and Sakura, with Kakashi as the sensei. With that, some things from the first bits of their team would still go the same, like how Naruto would still prank Kakashi, and Naruto and Sasuke's personalities would still be relatively the same, except Naruto would be a little bit more serious because he experienced some bits of what Sasuke did, and Sasuke would be a bit more goofy and lighthearted because he grew up with Naruto. As well as the fact that the girls and Sakura and Ino would still have a crush on Sasuke because of the same reasons as before, but they would still not like Naruto that much because they just find him too goofy or whatever. But Hinata would still probably have a crush on Naruto because of him saving her from the bullies, and in this timeline he probably beat the bullies because of him being so much stronger. But besides that, nothing that much changes, and yeah. The goals of Team 7 is a little bit different from in canon. While Sakura's goal is basically unchanged, with her still having the crush on Sasuke, but Naruto's goal, while still being to become the Hokage, his goal is also to kill Itachi, like how Sasuke's goal was. And Sasuke's goal is still relatively unchanged, although he might want to do something like become stronger as well. But that kind of is still the same. So, yeah, kind of unchanged there. And yeah, the bell test would start relatively the same, as Kakashi would still have convinced Team 7 to not eat breakfast, making them a little bit weaker, but that does not really matter here, like in canon. And so, they would have made a plan, and then when the test started, Naruto charged at Kakashi, making it seem like he was not following whatever plan they made, as Naruto would be fighting him in taijutsu while also sending some air bullets at Kakashi. Kakashi would be dodging the air bullets, and he would not be really impressed, to say the least, until Sasuke would send a fireball out of nowhere, which Kakashi would not really expect, as he did not expect them to be working together here. Kakashi would dodge the fireball, although barely, as he would still be hit by it a little bit. As that would happen, Naruto would charge in with more air bullets and with some taijutsu. Naruto would be engaging Kakashi in hand-to-hand combat, while he was also shooting some wind bullets at Kakashi. While this was happening, Sasuke would be shooting Kakashi with fireballs from a distance from the bushes. This was putting Kakashi off his game and would force him to put away his book to take Naruto and Sasuke a bit more seriously, as then Sasuke would come up from the bushes to try and attack Kakashi in hand-to-hand combat, as well as they were both engaging him, as then Sasuke would kick Kakashi square in the face. With Kakashi not expecting this, Naruto would then attempt to take the bells, but Kakashi would readjust himself just in time. Kakashi would then push both Naruto and Sasuke away, as then Naruto and Sasuke would use their moves Fireball Jutsu and Wind Bullet respectively, and that would force Kakashi to jump into the sky to avoid them. But then there would be something there. He would feel a little prick in his back, and then an explosion. Sakura had thrown an explosive tag onto Kakashi, and Kakashi did not even notice. He had forgotten about Sakura, something that they wanted him to do, so that she could do this. As then he would be exploded away from them, and then this would give Naruto and Sasuke a chance to get up closer to him to try and take the bells, as they would use their techniques and they would hit him, and then allowing them to get closer to the bells, and then them both almost being able to grab them. But then Kakashi would use his Sharingan to see them both coming at him and block them both, as to then push Naruto and Sasuke away from him. Naruto would activate his Tailed Beast cloak. This was more relative to what he used against Neji, and while this wasn't the extent of his power, he was going to only use this for now, as if he used any more, he could possibly hurt himself, and that would not be really well to be used. And then, as Sasuke would activate his two Tomoe, something that he has now garnered because of his training with Naruto, they would charge at him being Kakashi, as Kakashi would say, "You two are better off giving up. You too, Sakura. You three did really well, and you three may not pass this exam, but you are really respectable as shinobi." As Naruto would glare at Kakashi and say, "I'm not giving up. You can't make me give up. I'm going to defeat you in this battle. Just you wait and see." As then he would charge at him, and Sasuke backing him up with fireballs from afar and throwing some kunai. Kakashi would dodge them easily and then dodge Naruto's attacks really easily. As Sakura would come up from the bushes, Kakashi
would kick Sakura away. He would then swat Sasuke into a nearby tree, as then he would perform the 1,000 Years of Death onto Naruto, making him go flying into a nearby lake. After Naruto picked himself back up from the lake, Kakashi would tie him onto a log like in canon. He would tell Team 7 not to feed him, just like in canon, and they would. Kakashi would tell them that they passed because in the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, but those who betray their friends are worse than scum. And because of that, they all passed because they fed Naruto and because they performed really well in the test. So in great teamwork and almost getting the belts from him because of their great teamwork. Okay, so that will be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, see you in the next video. This is Blink No Name signing off. Goodbye.